Hey everyone, welcome to Wolfman's Game again. Today I have another unboxing for you guys. We'll be unboxing the game War of Whispers by Jeremy Stoltzfus. The version that we have here is the collector's edition, and it was the Kickstarter that was run recently where backers have started to receive their pledges. The main difference I expect between this and the standard version is that the standard version had a bunch of cubes that were used, whereas this replaces those cubes with a few different plastic figures over the course of the game. But as you can see, it's not a very thick box, so I would expect that a lot of the plastic figures are probably on the smaller end, but we'll open it up, see what's all of that is about. We also have the expansion pack that was part of that Kickstarter that was run called Dark Alliances. This is basically I'm reading the back of the box right here. It's a 10 card pack, so potentially just augments certain gameplay elements or so on, but I don't really know a lot about it, so we'll either ways we'll go to the table, we'll open both the box up and this one and see what's inside. So let's go to the table. Alright everyone, so welcome to the table. Here we can see the front box cover for a War of Whispers. This obviously tells us that this is the collector's edition. The game is published by Starling, who are also behind other games such as Everdell, which has excellent production quality. So I'm optimistic about what we can expect to find inside this one. We'll put the expansion pack aside for now and come back to it at the very end of the video once we're done with this. So let's quickly just flip it over, look at the pack before we crack on. So you have the image of what you can expect inside the box itself. It's a circular board, which is obviously unique. Not a lot of games come with round circular boards, so we'll see what that looks like. And the image gives you an overview of the different pieces and player boards that you can expect there as well. The game, of course, is designed for 2 to 4 players, and it is expected to be played in roughly 60 minutes. So, with that, let's get going and see what's inside. Alright, so first off, the one thing that I can tell, which I was not able to tell before taking the shrink wrap off, is there is a bit of a sort of like a added effect going on with the back of this individual and the lower part of this board. It's embossed, or well, not embossed is probably the wrong word, but it definitely is a separate texture on this side versus what you have on the others. The color palette is definitely attractive with strong blue hues, with a little bit of red and white going on over there as well. But generally, it's an attractive looking box cover. So let's get on with it and see what's inside. Alright, so blank inside of the top box. The side of the box doesn't seem to have a lot going on with it. Let's see what are some of these items in here. So this looks like a sort of like a games catalog by Starling Games. It's similar to what you would have seen with a lot of other publishers as well. Just tells you the other stuff that they do. We're not going to go through this. Let's put it aside. Now, the rule book, rules of play. So let's have a look at it and see what's in here. So different factions, the Pale Raven, the Supplicant Spider, and so on. Overview, goals, different component pieces you can expect inside, which we'll see shortly. Setup. This is what the game will look like once it is set up. And looks like setup is not that complicated. Again, I'm just guessing based on the text going on in here. Gameplay overview gives you a few different concepts right up front. Turn phase, attack, combat. Alright, so it looks like you're going to have pieces moving around on the board, attacking different players and doing certain things. Playing cards, final scoring, advanced rules, card clarification. So always good when you have some clarification items in here, but obviously not a full description of the cards that might be in the game. So just generally first impressions, seems the layout is convenient. There are a lot of illustrated examples that tell you how certain things will work, so that's good, in theory at least. And while there is a bit of rules, there are definitely other games that have a lot more going on, so We'll figure out later on how complex it is, but first glance says this is probably medium to, medium-ish weight. So that's your rule book. Now, these I assume are the different player boards. So this is interesting. So this is a thick cardstock. It's not cardboard, so it's a bit surprising that you would have. And again, I'm assuming that these are player boards, right? So single-sided. The back is just blank. I would have expected something like this to be cardboard, but I mean, obviously, this saves on space, but interesting design choice. The image, of course, is attractive, so the different ones, these are for each of the individual factions. So Cult of the Rat, Supplicant Spider, Pale Raven, and the Endless Serpent. They all have different artwork going on, and I do like the artwork that I'm seeing so far. But it is again interesting that the so-called player board would basically be, excuse me, just sheets. Alright, so next up we have the player board. So we'll move this to the side so that we can have a look at how the board unfolds. So it is single-sided, so first of all, the back end is blank. Yeah, so it is, I mean, definitely a circular board, no mistaking that. Looks like there's a lot of icons going on around the edges of the board itself, and then you have the map at the very center of it with different regions marked out. I like what I'm seeing on the board without necessarily being blown away. I think it's probably a good way of describing it. There's nothing wrong with this. It's the regions are definitely distinct. They have lines that are drawn in between, so there's no confusing which region is where. There's definitely clues in terms of the color and the artwork that tells you, this is, I don't know if weather has a factor or whatnot, or if it's just an artistic choice, but you definitely have different regions which give you a different flavor. Seems like a desert, a lot more green, a lot more ice going on over here. But again, the best way that I can describe it is looks functional, looks good, without necessarily looking great. It's something like the Scythe board would probably be, a step above this, but I've definitely seen boards which are a lot less in terms of quality than this one. So generally, I'm okay with it. It's not really that much to write home about, but not that much to complain about either. All right, so that's the board. Let's bring the box back. All right, so what do we have here? So we have a sheet that gives you different card clarifications with the different empires. And this looks like a sheet for the collector's edition, so it basically tells you what pieces are being replaced by what, so that you can make a sense of what's in here. So looks like we'll still get some of the cardboard pieces that will be punched out, but we will probably have equivalent plastic versions of these inside. So let's go in and see what's happening. Yeah, so here we have the insert, different pieces. We'll hold off for a quick minute and have a look at this first. So they're punching out easily. Thickness is good. Eagle Gryphon games, I think, do thickness a little bit better, but this is still good. These are punching out, as you can see, quite easily. No issues whatsoever. Yeah, these are good. I'm happy with the cardboard quality on this. All right. A whole bunch of Ziploc bags. We'll move these to the side. Then we have first set of plastic pieces that will open up. So it looks like these are based on different factions, perhaps. So you have red, yellow, dark purple, blue. Now this is different, and then green. So there's 5 different colors in here. We'll open up one that will give us a sense on what to expect with the others as well. Alright, so pretty standard. I'll maybe take one and have a close look up at it first. So these are pretty standard. These are basically banners. that stand up might denote different areas of control or influence on the map for you, but level of detail is average. But again, there's quite a few of these pieces, so I guess it's more important, obviously, to have something that's small, functional, easy to put out, without necessarily taking up too much space on the board and making it difficult. So from that point of view, I guess it sort of like works. So there you go. Yeah, these are I'm happy with these. Not really that much to complain about. Pretty standard. And then these, of course, are similar, just in different colors. We'll have a look at this one though, because this is different. Oops, things are starting to pop out. All right, so these look like small huts of sorts, but again, smaller pieces. Again, I guess from a functional standpoint, easier to put out and manage on the board. So that's that. And then an hourglass. I don't know if this is, I think this is the start player token. So this, I don't know what this does. It's definitely not keeping actual time. There's no sand in here that moves around, but a nice bit of item to have around the board, if you will. So there you go. That's the hourglass. Well, we're on the subject. Let's open this out. Let's see what this is. It's a nice little thing that puts in. So this is metallic. Definitely has a bit of weight to it. Yeah, I like it. It's so the two sides are different. So you have 4 different icons in here. I'm guessing this is for the 4 different player colors, and then there's 5 icons in here, which might be for the 5 different factions that you have to work with, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's nice. I like it. We'll come to the cards at the very end. Let's look at these. We'll take a few out and have a look at this. So these look like towers. Yeah. These look like towers. Again, solid plastic pieces, nice, functional. Level of detail is continues to be good. Not absolutely the best, but definitely quite solid, very good. I like what I'm seeing so far with the quality of the small plastics themselves. Would have been very easy to make these with less level of detail and still, have them considered to be okay. But I think this is generally quite good for what it is. So there you go. You have these. Now these might be the 4 different player colors. I'm not sure, but these are definitely the same pieces repeated in different colors. So maybe we'll have a look at orange. Hopefully it will pop a little bit more in front of the camera. We'll take a few pieces out. So these are basically, these are all the same pieces, and this is basically a dude sitting on a throne, so to speak. Hopefully you can make out the details there. I'll hold it up for a quick sec, and hopefully it's enough time for it to focus. Level of detail again is this one. I would say it's okay. It's some of the others had a bit more detail going on with those. This one is okay. So this is what I was talking about when we were looking at the tower earlier, that you would have a little less level of detail but still be okay, and I think this is where that falls at. The tower, of course, had felt like a little bit more on it, but still quite good, quite solid. I'm definitely happy. No complaints from me. And then the last set of plastics. I do not. Oh, these might be things you put the banners on, I assume. So this is looks like a base of sorts, and we'll see whether we can put one of these on it. And yes, you can. So maybe that's what it does. It's just put on somewhere, and then you have different banners that will go on it, and maybe they just act differently at that point. So there's definitely a lot more of these than you have the different pieces. But yeah. There you go. And again, the level of detail, quite good, decent, no complaints. I'm pretty happy with what I've seen so far. Now, we'll have a look at the cards. And again, not a lot of cards. These look like standard sized playing cards that you might see elsewhere. It's not, I'm just going to clear this off. Maybe. There we go, because I'm going to probably will sleeve them anyway. So let's have a look at the cards together. So the artwork repeats a little bit. Well, actually quite a bit. There is, I think, 3 different kind of artwork that I can identify on this deck. Actually, I take that back. Might just be 2. I think it's 2. Yeah. So the artwork is definitely not quite as unique. There are 2 different kind of arts. You have basically the dude looking out with the different. I don't know, whatever this is. Not pillars, but looks like bars. And then image of a treasure going on over here, and then you have text going on at the bottom. Now these look, these are not same cards. So even though the artwork is the same, the text effect looks different. So the cards will definitely function in a different way, except for the treasure cards, which these look like identical both in terms of the artwork and the function that they will do. But the other rather is different. Generally, I love the texture of the card. It's not very thick, but it does seem to have a good texture on it. And just looking at the back of the cards themselves, oh, there's definitely a lot more happening with the back. So this is one set of artwork, another set of artwork, third one, fourth, fifth. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what purpose the back of the cards serve, because they definitely seem to be a lot more unique. You might have to make separate decks out of these, I assume, at some point, but generally I'm happy with the quality of the cards. I'm definitely going to get this sleeve, but it's a nice finish on it. I like it. It's maybe could be a bit thicker, but I'm generally happy with what I see here. So that's there, and then more cards. Rip into it. There we go. Alright, so the design, not the design rather, sorry, the layout of the card looks to be similar. You have text going on at the bottom and then artwork at the top, but there's more icons in these, so maybe they work a little bit differently. Again, with artwork, I would say, so over here, the art with the front and the back is repeated. And this is the same artwork that we had seen on one of the cards, on some of the cards on that side. So these artworks seem to be basically what we have on the back. So maybe cards for different factions or whatnot. I'll quickly go through this just to give you a sense of what's in here. And again, the same quality and finish as we had seen with this. And the back of the cards themselves seems to be similar art, the same artwork pretty much as what we had seen there. So there you go. Not a lot of variety in terms of the art, but what is there is good. So that's there. The quality of the cards do seem to be decent. All right, so that's pretty much what we have in the base box. And again, I'll quickly maybe make a comment on the insert. These are obviously not game trays, but they look decent. These will do what they're supposed to do. And of course, once you have the plastic pieces in the Ziploc bags, storage should, I assume, not be an issue with this. And again, in today's day and age of bloated production with lots of empty space in air, even though this one wasn't exactly quite cheap, I'm still happy with a box that is compact and makes good use of the space inside it. So just thought I'd mention that very quickly. So let's get this to the side and open up the Dark Alliance's expansion pack. So front of the card doesn't really tell us much. The back does tell us that there are 10 cards in here. So perhaps they augment the deck we had a look at earlier on. Let's see where we can get this thing opened. Cards, there's something else in here, and another Ziploc bag. I do not see anything else in this, so it's pretty much what you have. So we'll move this to the side and open. Whoa, there we go. All right. A bit trickier than I'm probably making a bit more of a mess of this than it honestly should be. Hold on. There you go. All right. So Dark Alliance, it's pretty much the heading on the card itself, so easy for you to differentiate which one's the expansion. There's an icon at the bottom left as well that I assume is specific to the expansion, so good way for you to identify what's in there. Artwork on all of these are identical. The icons are different, and I guess it's based on factions. And then you have the text. And now, are the texts the same? I think they are. Huh. Nope, there's a slight difference. Sorry, never mind. There's a bit of a difference on some of the text in here. So I don't know if these are significant differences or just small minor ones, but I'm not going to go through each one of them individually, but know that they are there. Back of the cards, again, artwork similar to what we had seen earlier on, so no new art, so to speak, in here. And that's pretty much the expansion for the game. So I'll move these to the side, organize this a little bit more, and then let's quickly go back to the table and I'll share my final thoughts on the unboxing itself. Alright, welcome back to the table, everyone. So just some final comments before we wrap this up very quickly. I wanted to call out the difference in components between the collector's edition, which we have here, and the standard edition, should you pick that up. So the rulebook gives you an overview of what the standard components are, and the sheet that we had a look at earlier on just tells you what some of the upgraded components were. So the punchboard pieces that we had a look at, some of those were replaced by the plastic minis, whereas others will still be used over the course of the game. The hourglass that we had seen was basically sort of like a round marker that we can use for tracking. That's part of the deluxe edition. The metal token that we had seen is obviously the upgraded deluxe edition one, the large round punch out that we had seen from the punch board. That's the standard starting pair token from there. So there's a bit of a mixture of those two. The one item lastly that I will call out are some of the pieces, the banners that we had a look at, are meant to be replacement of cubes. Now, there weren't any cubes in the box itself. So I assume that given the fact that it is a collector's edition, they just sort of like put in the stuff that they have to with the punch board, because some of the other pieces would still be used, is in there. But the wooden cubes, which because of the plastic minis that we now have are no longer of use, have been taken out. So if you are looking to pick up the deluxe or the collector's edition, keep in mind that the wooden pieces will not be there, whereas the punch board will still be. So you will have some mix of standard and deluxe components in there. Other than that, just a final comments on the quality of the production itself. It is good and solid from what I could tell throughout. The quality of the plastics do seem to be good. I'm happy with those generally. Some of them seem to have a little bit more detail than the others, but that would just be me and my personal sort of like view on it. You might look at it and think that they're all consistent throughout, but generally I'm happy with the quality as is. The fact that they're small might make it a little fiddlier, but hopefully what it also means is that there's going to be space for you to put them on the board. The one thing that I also like is the fact that because it's a circular board, but it's not like a gigantic board. If you think of some of the other games that are thematically similar, they can tend to be, have larger player boards which take up a larger playing area. This seems a little bit more compact and reasonable from that point of view. So, if you have a medium-sized footprint on your game table, you can definitely easily get this on it and not have to worry that much about that. Other than that, the playboard is the other one last piece perhaps that was a bit weird for me. But it's not that much of a deal breaker, I suppose. We'll see how that goes once we get a few plays in, but was just a little bit weird. Other than that, glad to see that there is sort of like Kickstarters that still respect space on shelf. So this is quite compact. I did not really have a lot of difficulty getting everything back in here, including the 10-card expansion, which, excuse me, was definitely quite easy to fit in this one as well. So that's pretty much it from my end. If you're looking to pick this up, hopefully you'll now have a better sense of what to expect inside the box. I will try to put up a tutorial for this sometime at the start of the new year, maybe not immediately right now. So we'll see how that goes. Keep an eye out for that if that's something that's of interest to you. In the meanwhile, Hopefully you're having a great holiday season, and if I don't see you before the new year, have a wonderful new year as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.